I sent a very honest, vulnerable message in group coaching today, and I said, hey, I know last night's session was pretty freaking hard, and it was hardcore, and I know at times it seems like we are doom and gloom, and we are just kind of negative, but at the end of the day, I would rather you operate on the truth, because you can't operate on reality if you don't know what reality is.
How do you make good decisions if they're based on inaccurate understandings? The truth is everything.
Next Level Nation, today for episode number 2257, the truth is the truth regardless of how you react to it. You could even say regardless of how you feel about it. I guess that's a little bit more hardcore. But
it's better.
You think it's better?
I do.
You like that? Well, you're more hardcore than I am for sure.
I think feelings distort objective truth.
I would say that. And I also understand why, right? Feelings feel real even when they're not necessarily real. But we did our last session of podcast-specific coaching in the Next Level Podcast Accelerator last night. Shout out to Team Hypecast. And afterwards, we did a call with me, you, and Amy.
Yes.
And we were like, was that too hardcore? Are we like shitting on people's dreams here? Like, what are we doing here? Is this too much? And a couple things came up, and we talked about it behind the scenes, but I wish I didn't get so much bullshit from people in the beginning of this journey, because that didn't really help me. And I also want to make sure that I'm giving truth from a balanced, centered place, and I'm not... My truth is, it's not that I don't want somebody to try to do something if that's what they want to do. My truth is, I want you to know how challenging it might be. And then at least you can decide. That is always, I won't say that's always been my perspective, but my perspective now is I would rather you say, look, I know the first level of this game is like fun. You know, you get to swing around from rope to rope. And when you fall in the water. It's not bad. It's easy. The first level's always easy. But just so you know, when you get to like the 50th, 60th level, I mean, you're going to get stuck on those levels for like 20 times. You're going to throw your game across the room. You're not going to want to pick it up for weeks at a time. And that, I mean, it is going to suck. I want you to know that going in, because maybe that affects the way that you show up. Maybe that affects your perspective. Maybe that affects your strategy, whatever it is. I just feel like we would have been better served if we had the truth at the beginning. And that's what I aspire to give.
I am reading Rationality with Book Club. Rationality by Steven Pinker. I think the book is unbelievably important because of the concept, not necessarily the author of the book. The concept of rationality is based on objective truth. And I think the best example to give for how feelings distort our reality is when you're swimming in the ocean. When you're swimming in the ocean, Emilia and I went to a little cove over the summer. It was awesome. And she and I were swimming, and it was just us in this little cove. It was so beautiful. And she's like, so I just need some rationality. I was like, yes, I'm here. What's happening? She said, what are the chances we get eaten by a shark right now? And she was being playful, but also somewhat serious. And I said, the last I looked it up, rounding up, there's 350 million people who live in America, and only a rounding error of 1 person per year dies of a shark attack.
How many people get attacked, though?
See, I didn't look that up. Straight up. But there's on average, 1 shark attack death per year in the United States, in America. Now, you have to factor in the fact that the coast is only the bottom portion, obviously, right? What percentage of the border of the U.S. is actually coastline, right? Okay. The point is, the chances are extremely, extremely, extremely rare that you get eaten or bitten by a shark. However, when you're in the ocean, your mind starts fucking with you every time. And there are 40,000, I think it's lower than that now, but there's 40,000 last I looked it up. This was back in probably 5 years ago. 40,000 motor vehicle deaths per year. So you are 40,000 times more likely to be hurt or killed in your car every single day that you get in without thinking about it than you are by a shark. However, when you get in your car, you don't even think about it. Throw on your seatbelt, rock and roll, let's do it. You get in the ocean, there's no way you're not thinking about it. And so feelings distort objective truth. A lot of people think the world is more dangerous now than ever, but if you look at the statistical crime rates over time, it's insane. Poverty is down, not up. You can research this. Everyone, please research this. The news makes it sound like everything is so bad. It's called if it bleeds, it leads. It's people scaring you into getting your attention. If you're walking past a newspaper stand and one of them says, huge, dangerous storm coming, and the other one says, lovely valley nearby, which one is going to sell more newspapers? Mm-hmm. It's going to be the danger one. So my point is, objective truth is how we make good decisions. If you never swim again because you're afraid of sharks, that's very irrational because the chances of you getting hurt by a shark is so slim. So how is this relevant to success? I was on with a client earlier today, a relationship talks coaching client. And I said, I want to do a little exercise that's going to seem mean. It's going to seem mean. I want you to do something with me. So we wrote down every first name of her family member, immediate family. And I said, I know this is going to be hard because we're all deeply conditioned to not see our family accurately. I want you to tell me 3 things. I want you to treat this person, her sister. Okay. Her sister, boom, blank. I want you to tell me 3 things about this human being as a human being. She's not your sister. You don't know her. You just met her today. And you know of her. And you're going to judge her as a human being just for a second. Okay, we're going to judge just for a second because without judgment, you can't be discerning. You have to make a judgment call. We all have heard the 5 people you spend the most time with. Well, how do you pick those 5 people? You should have some judgments about them. If they're toxic, you probably shouldn't be around them. So I said, I want you to give me 3 things, objective truths, just truth, objective truths that are a little bit mean. You're afraid to say them out loud, but they are true. They are accurate. So powerful. She said, honestly, this was really hard for her. She's like, she is really entitled. She's kind of spoiled. And then eventually she's like, yeah, she's actually really weak. She's quite the coward. And she's very vain. She's focused on a lot of vain things. Nonsense. Shiny object bullshit. I said, okay. Now we're going to go back into real life. This is still your sister. Okay? Now you have an objective understanding of who she is. Now you can decide going forward whether or not she's the type of person that you'd spend time with. Because, and I know you know this, Kev, our family we grow up with. But if we met them today, I have a friend I grew up with. If I met him today, what a dick. Oh my God, I would never be friends with him today. That's the truth. And I'm not alone in that. So objective truth helps us make effective choices. Because if she wants to distort her reality and not see her family accurately, she's going to go like the self-driving car that keeps driving off a cliff. It thinks it's a road, but it's a cliff over and over and over again. And I see clients do that all the time. I think the number one reason we do not succeed in life is because we see ourselves, others, and the world inaccurately. And the number one reason for that is blind spots and distortions from feelings and conditioning.
Well, feels good to feel better than you are, quote unquote. Again, I'm not saying intrinsically, just at life or whatever it is. The whole friend thing brought something up for me. I was going through my phone yesterday. I was looking for something to post. What can I post on social media? I want to inspire. Let me bring some inspiration to the fucking web. And I found I'll tell the story first. I've told this story before, but it's very, I think it's very accurate based on this. I was dating a girl before Tara and I reconnected, and she said, I want to meet your friends. I haven't met your friends yet. I was like, yeah, awesome. Well, you come over, you meet my friends. Let me just set you up for who you're going to meet. You're going to meet 2 of my friends, my closest friends. Alan probably wasn't available, so you would have been there too, but you probably weren't available. You were probably working, so I could have this cookout. And I said, all right, one of my friends, he's like my big brother. He's gonna love you. He is gonna talk me up. He's gonna make me seem way better than I am. He's good. He's a good dude. He's gonna take care of you. He's just a good dude. He's like a big brother to me. And I said, the other one. And he was like, the other one, he's gonna make fun of you in front of you. He's going to make fun of me to you. He will say some wildly inappropriate things you can't put back in the box. He will be highly disrespectful. He'll probably try to make the whole day about him. And then at the end of the day, if anybody confronts him on anything, he'll just say, I'm just a dick. That's the way I am. And I was like, oh my God. Oh no. No. So I saw a picture that person messaged me a meme one time, and I screenshotted it. And it was, we all have that one friend that you have to warn everybody about before you meet them. And this person said, that's blank. And I was like, yeah, that is fucking blank. Oh my goodness gracious. One of the hardest truths of all time. That's brutal to say. It's brutal to think about. I don't talk to this person anymore. I miss this person all the time. And if somebody was to say, well, why not? That person just wasn't what was best for me. And I don't think they want to try to be in my life to the capacity of what I'm trying to do. And I completely understand, but I miss this person all the time. And every time I talk about this, I feel like shit about it. Every time. Because I'm thinking, well, what if they pick up a fucking episode and they hear this one and they think it's about them? That sucks. And that is the truth at the time. That is the truth. We joked about it. It's not like this was a thing that was unsaid. We joked about it. That is uncomfortable. And I think if you can, I'm going to talk myself up here real quick, just for a second. I believe that one of the reasons I'm able to be quote unquote successful, to whatever that means to you out there, is because I'm just pretty good, I would say above average at accepting the truth.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Because
superpowers.
What else can I do with it? What else can I do with it?
I think it's because when you were a kid,
my dad,
you were told your dad was going to come get you.
Yeah.
And you got excited over and over and over again, and you got let down over and over and over again. So then you learned, as a trauma response, I think, to not get your hopes up based on fucking delusion.
I think it's dangerous to go all in on potential. I think it's dangerous to go all in on, well, if. What are we doing here?
Been there. My biggest problem, hands down.
I had somebody that asked me for relationship advice, and I was like, look, if this person has to change this, and this for you guys to be together, you probably shouldn't be together in the first place. Like, what are we doing? And if it doesn't change, what's going to happen? You're going to get mad at them? You signed up for it, brother. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it sounds so simple when you say it like that.
It does. All of this sounds simple, right? But to Alan's point, I think one of the reasons I probably am okay now at getting feedback, and I'll say truth. I hate feedback. It blows. But because it's never killed me, and it has always been a mirror to something that is true that I didn't really understand was true.
Okay, why was that of value? Because that's the key. I think if we have blind spots, we're going to keep driving into a wall repeatedly. So, but let's make this land better. Number one, you can't make, I just keep going to the same thing. You can't make a good choice based on false data.
I think that's perfect. I think that's a perfect way to think about it.
But we need like a tangible fucking example. Like, okay, I thought that a person in my past was a really good person. I was absolutely wrong. I dated her. And it made my life worse. And the better I got, the worse the relationship got. And my life got way better when I left her. That's the reality of the situation. Like, if you think someone's competent who's not, and you hire them, trust me, you're going to find out the hard way. It's better to be discerning out of the gate. Go ahead.
I think we were having a conversation one time, and I said, isn't it weird how when you change the way you see yourself, essentially the way you see everybody has to change too?
Yeah, because
I think that's why. Because one perspective shift does not change one thing. It changes everything.
Yeah.
Because the angle is off. I think that's why it's so valuable. Now, obviously, you have to make sure you're getting it from a trusted source. Somebody on the internet right now could be like, well, Kev, you're just so you know, this is the truth about you. It's like, well, you don't know me. So kindly F off. Or I remember we got a review one time that said, Kev, can you please stop screaming into the microphone? And initially it was like, you're not a podcaster. The fuck do you know? And then I listened back. It's like, I was screaming into the mic. For sure. For sure. In reflection after enough time, I appreciated that feedback.
Well, this is why everything, and I always come back to this. I know we got to go in a second. Listeners, you listen to us. I know a lot of you listen to other podcasts too. This is something that I do think we are unique in. I don't know if you're going to get this to the same extent anywhere else. Everything in life is so fucking difficult because it's always both. One person says, you need to be able to take external feedback. The other person says, be careful what feedback you take. Listen, Kevin was told you scream into the mic. Accurate.
That was accurate.
That was accurate, and you're right. You should stop doing that. Mm-hmm. But you can't listen to every piece of feedback. Half the feedback we've gotten, if not more, probably 90% of it has been atrociously inaccurate and wrong, and from someone who's never driven a car before.
That's a skill.
In the metaphor of
so you either decide I'm going to take all of it, I'm going to take none of it, or I'm going to get to the point where I can decipher good from bad, and I think that's a lot of people want to opt out from that.
Yeah, you have to decipher accurate from inaccurate, and I think that true humility is the ability to contemplate that. And unfortunately, a lot of people are trying to hurt you. So someone reaches out and they say, Alan, you really come off as pretentious on the podcast, and, you think you know everything and all this stuff. I definitely do know a lot, and I definitely say things with a lot of confidence, and I think that I've earned that. I also have a podcast called Next Level University, helping people be more successful. So I'm supposed to be confident and competent and speak into people's lives. I can't be like, so earlier today, I was thinking about this concept. And
well, I like that. That's nice.
It may or may not be for you, but have you considered that self-esteem is important and that self-discipline? Fuck that. First of all, no, I'm not saying I know everything. What I don't know is limitless. What I do know is limited, but it's definitely more than this person. And I know that for sure.
But the fact is, you still might come off as pretentious. That could be the truth, and that's okay. That's the piece of it. That is the piece of it.
Especially to someone like him.
Yes. That is a level of truth, but it doesn't mean that you are. That's a perspective, I guess.
And
So
it
it's not
doesn't
truth,
mean that you should change anything.
Right.
But then you have people say, well, I don't care what other people think.
Yeah.
So,
just be yourself.
Just
if
be
you're
all
too much
of
for
yourself.
other people, that's too bad. It's like, well, you're kind of a dick. You're kind of a dick. That's not an excuse to be a dick.
And you are going to be alone forever because of it. All right, we got to jump.
Yes. Masterclass.
This has been awesome, though. I love that. Yeah, Masterclass. So the Next Level University monthly Masterclass is every first Thursday of every month, December 4th, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The top 5 fundamentals of business you must understand to be successful long term. I obviously am pro long-term compound effect, snowball effect. I don't think you're going to build a multi-million-dollar business overnight. And if fence that goes up fast also falls down fast, trust me, we've seen it. So the masterclass is going to be on business. We took a vote, and the link to register will be in the show notes. And production team, please put the actual link because a lot of times it goes to the website, which is totally fine. That's what we said before. The link to register on Zoom will be in the show notes. As soon as you register, it'll be able to email you, and you'll put it on your calendar.
Boom. And Next Level Nation, our Facebook group of amazing humans like you who aspire to get to the next level and want a little bit of truth every day, right? That's not too much to ask. Get a little truth every day. Get a little closer to reality every day. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And if you are as committed as you say you are to getting to the next level, tune in tomorrow because we will be here every single day to help you get there.
Keep reaching for your full potential. Next Level Nation.